Welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday interview sessions. I am your host, Ryan Hartley. This channel exists to inspire and encourage your heart-centered leadership. Each week, I share interviews with some of the greatest heart-centered leaders in the world. I hope our time spent together helps you leave a heartprint where those around you are left better than yesterday. Please visit abty.co.uk if you would like us in your corner. These interview sessions are brought to you by Matt Media Online Marketing, an independent agency who specialise in content marketing, helping business owners get their message seen by the right audience. If you want to get your business seen through the power of social media, head to mattmedia.online. On episode 222, I am joined by Hanna Bier, founder and CEO of Money Bliss. Hanna is an energy healer, family constellation expert, and certified life coach. She has woven her diverse skill set into a proven and innovative capacity to allow her clients to transform their relationship with money from the inside out. It's a great conversation all about Money Bliss. Make sure you head to Hanna's website, hannabier.com, which you will find in the show notes. And I hope that you enjoy this conversation on episode 222. It's Hanna Bier. Hanna, welcome to the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast. How are you?
Hi, Ryan. I'm so excited to be here.
Great to see you. Where in the world are you at the moment?
I'm in Germany, in the very south, close to the French border.
Okay. Where are you from originally?
I grew up here. My dad's American, my mom's German. I've lived in different countries all over the world. And then I had a little child. And so we lived in London at the time.
Yeah.
And felt like we wanted to raise her somewhere, somewhere more in nature, more in the countryside. And I love my grandpa. He's gonna turn 90 next year. And so I thought it would be nice to just move back to Germany.
Yeah.
Spend some time with my grandpa while he's still around.
I love that. The only place I've been to in Germany is Cologne, which I understand is where you went to university, right?
That's right. Yeah, Cologne is a fun place. Have you been to the carnival?
No, I was there. So my best friend got married, and obviously we did the typically British thing of visiting a European city, and so we didn't travel terribly. We didn't do a great deal. We weren't very cultured back then.
I know, I'm the same. When I look at my early 20s, I'm like, oh my God, what a dum-dum was I?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to know a little bit about your story. I know you have a heart for coaching and specifically money coaching. Do you know this is the first episode and the first guest I've had in over 220 episodes where the topic has been solely money?
That's crazy.
Interesting, right?
To talk about money. It's about time.
I'm ready for it, right? And it's interesting because I'm reading through your stuff as I'm preparing to interview, and I'm like, where's my money mindset at? Like, how's my money mindset? So I'm really looking forward to kind of, my audience are going to hear me probably grow through this conversation as we go through it too.
Yeah. So you're asking about my work, right? Like how I came.
How'd you come into it? Why this topic of money, and how did you settle on this being the expression of your heart work that you wanted to bring to the world?
Yeah, because I needed this healing so desperately. Some days I wake up and I almost want to laugh to myself that this is the work that I'm doing today.
Yeah.
Because if you had asked me a couple of years ago, I would have sworn that I am the last person who should teach on money because I had all the problems. Lying awake at night, not being able to sleep, struggling to make the most basic decisions with money, feeling terrified of my future, having a deep belief that I could never be a successful entrepreneur, and feeling envious of other people. It felt like money to me was the thing that I just couldn't figure out. In other areas of my life, it wasn't so dire. Like with my relationships or with health, if I had a question, I was able to read a book or take a course or even get some advice on Instagram. I know we're not supposed to do it, but sometimes it helps. So everything else I was able to figure out. But money just felt like this insurmountable mountain to climb. I was so terrified of making a mistake, and there was just so much I didn't know.
Yeah. Do you think that some of that, like, feeling towards it is something that we learn from a young age?
Yeah, and even beyond that, I'm a family constellation therapist. So
Right.
when I talk about money,
Yeah.
I can't talk about money without taking your family of origin into account.
Yeah.
And it's not just our upbringing that influences how we do life today, it's also the
Mm.
previous generations, it's the history of our ancestry. In
Mm.
my example, I'm the daughter of an American. So my dad is American, my mom was German. On my mom's side, both of my grandparents were refugees during World War II. They were
Yeah.
just little children. Well, yeah, and then they were teenagers once the war ended, but
Mm.
all they saw was death,
Mm.
destruction,
Mm.
everything being taken from them. They never had any consistency, anything, right? Because they were
Yeah.
on the go, like trying to escape the Nazis
Yeah.
for the most part of their childhood.
Mm.
And so when they arrived in Germany, they had to rebuild a country from absolute rubble. They had no education, nothing whatsoever. They had lost family members.
Mm.
And so that's how their lives started. And something that runs in my and that money is really, really, really important for survival. So all of us have this extreme sense of anxiety around money,
Mm.
even this desire to hoard, this desire to want to hold on. But there's also this paradox of it could just go. That
Mm.
money is this thing that we can try to hold on to, but life is unfair and it could just be taken away. On my dad's side, my family grew up in extreme poverty, like
Mm.
really, really, really poor in rural Pennsylvania. Also had nothing. Many of my family members joined the army because there was no other way to make money.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so this is the legacy. And for the longest time, I thought, oh, I'm not that stupid, right? Like I've been to university, I can do some things, but why is money so terrifying to me?
Mm.
It wasn't until I really took the history of my family into account that I was able to find some compassion for myself
Mhm.
and realize the very big transgenerational patterns that I was in the process of breaking and just
Yeah.
how meaningful that is.
Hey, my friends, thank you for being with us so far. I hope you're enjoying the interview. I just wanted to take a quick moment to let you know about our signature heartprint coaching. Our heartprint coaching is for you if you're ready to go all in on becoming a heart-centered leader, ready to go all in on doing more of what you love, ready to see what you are capable of with support, guidance, and accountability. You're ready to go on a rapid, transformational journey that will change your life and others in as little as 3 months. Are you ready to show up with courage and share your gift with the world? Ready to start making an income and more impact by doing what you love? Ready to start leaving your legacy where those around you are left better than yesterday? In our Heartprint signature coaching, in our time together, I'll help you lead from your heart set. I'll help you develop other people and your team. I'll help you bring your heart work to the world. I'll help you start leaving a legacy and capturing examples of your impact. I will help you be someone you love, to do more of what you love, and to serve people that you love. It's an amazing opportunity for someone who's ready to go all in and be a heart-centered leader. I'll throw in loads of other bonuses, including your life languages profile, access to our Master Heart and Mind membership, and even some Always Better Than Yesterday merchandise. Head to abty.co.uk/coaching to find out more, and I look forward to connecting with you very soon. That's abty.co.uk/coaching. Here we go. Back to the interview. And that's so you said you have a young girl as well, a little daughter. And when you start to put things in that perspective, like the more and more work that you do on this stuff, I imagine it's just going to, be second nature for someone like your daughter who's watching kind of mum go through this already. And, I don't work in the money side of things, but definitely the healing and the kind of heart set connection, which is many, many people that I speak to, I call them first generational change makers, that they haven't got that kind of role model that's gone before them. So they're almost, banging through life, hitting the barriers left, right, and center, like trying to figure this stuff out themselves. But one of the greatest things I encourage people is that they're going to make such a difference for their next generation and the generations to come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so nice to know that the story really can be changed. And for the longest time, I always had this craving for elders, like somebody who knows what they're doing, just somebody to tell me about their mistakes.
Yeah.
Because my family just, they didn't talk much about anything in relationship with money. They were just so busy working, trying to stay afloat. But I wanted to have conversations. And I believe that I'm extremely fortunate to live at a time where there are coaches, where there are therapists. And I also had some shame around that, where I thought, like my normal friends don't need to have a coach all the time, don't need to have a therapist. Why do I? But now I'm realizing I need guidance. I need somebody to take me by the hand. I need to learn the ropes in life because my family don't know. And I think that's actually really beautiful and loving. So for me, this craving to just have somebody guide me, I'm very much aware that I need to replace this. So I always have a coach or a therapist helping me.
Yeah, it's really interesting as you use the word shame, and I think the learnings I've gone through is that shame is characterized by like not wanting to be seen. It's like almost hide your face in shame type, and that's so often a byproduct of a society and a culture that places a great deal of status on whatever worldly thing it is that we're talking about, whether it be beauty. In this case, we're talking about money. It's like, if I do not have that, then I don't gain. It's almost like the Western world has done such a great job at attaching status and identity to things of this world. And therefore, if I do not have those things, or if I'm not doing those things, then I'm almost suffering like inner poverty. I guess, how much of this stuff do you see as like an inner journey, sorting out that inner poverty so that we can, manifest or materialize kind of external abundance?
Yeah, I love what you just touched on because the world loves it when we are dissatisfied, right? Because then it can sell us all the things.
Yeah.
Right. So if we feel like we're not enough and our life is never enough and we're not interesting enough and cool enough and whatever enough, then the world can try and sell us all these ideas. Like you have to have a big house, you have to have an eight-figure business, you have to travel around the world all the time, you have to do all of those things, and then you'll be enough. And obviously that is a crazy notion because most of us who even accomplish all of these things are still at the end of the day left with this feeling of not enoughness. So my work is called Money Bliss because it kind of encapsulates the two things that I love to work on with my clients. The bliss part is the filling in of the deepest emotional needs that a person has. When we grow up, our parents ideally would have been able to give us everything that we needed, both emotionally and physically. But since most of our parents were human, mine definitely were, they were able to give me some things and other things I just missed out on.
Yeah.
And so these unmet needs create this longing inside of us, this gap inside of us. And then we go out into the world and we try and meet those needs through money, through success. That can never work, right? So if we feel like we don't belong, like we're not important, like we're not significant, we might keep striving for like the new promotion and the more amazing job and the more amazing this, but it never really meets that need of ours. Or, for me, a sense of security was something that I really wanted and needed and craved, but no amount of money and savings is ever able to give that to me because then I can just double my goal and say, oh, I need that much money and then I'll feel secure. I need that much money and then I'll feel secure. When the deepest need that I have just won't be filled in. So one of the things that I do with my clients is we fill you in with these needs so that you feel whole and calm and peaceful and joyful and overflowing and creative. And most of all, that you feel enough. And then the world can try to sell you all these things and you won't be so vulnerable to it anymore. And then we also create a lot of money because that makes life really, really fun. It's a really fun game to play. But I feel like we need to work on the two. And before starting my Money Bliss work, I noticed that there's like nothing is being offered that targets both. It's either inner healing, and then it's like, oh yeah, heal on the inside, or it's make a lot of money. But to me, the two really need to go hand in hand. You do need physical resources to put food on the table and to have a really healthy home and to be able to treat yourself to wonderful experiences. It does take money to live a really good life on planet Earth, but more importantly, it does take emotional resources to be able to enjoy all of that.
Hey friends, I just wanted to take a quick moment to introduce the new official sponsor of the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast, Matt Media Online Marketing. Matt Media have been involved in the production of over 100 interview sessions. I highly recommend their services. Matt Media Online Marketing are an independent agency who specialise in content marketing, helping business owners get their message seen by the right audience. If you want your business seen through the power of social media, head to mattmedia.online. You can find the link in the show notes. And here we go. Back to the interview.
Yeah, and I like from the kind of business perspective, the analogy, like so many businesses are in, business to make money. They've almost made that the focus on the goal. But then the analogy is, well, when you work with more purpose, you see that, the analogy being the car. And you're going for the destination, and then to get to the destination, you need fuel. So when you start to see money as the fuel to help you get to the destination, you can then start to see actually the money isn't the destination. The money is the fuel for the journey that you're going to go on through life. And that's been something that's really helped me shift a different perspective. That if I want to go to good places, I want to take my family to good places, I want to look after and serve and support other people, then wouldn't it be more fruitful, should I say, if I had more resources available to me to be able to give?
Right, because money is life force energy.
Right.
Money is, and to some extent, it is a building block that we use to build things. And so if you've got life force energy available, you can build some really cool things. And we would hope that more and more as humanity evolves and we're able to be more moral human beings, that we use those building blocks to build a better world.
Yeah. Do you know what kind of blew my mind as a adult is when my child, so I'll give a bit of backstory. When I was younger, right? When I was really young, if someone gave me £10, I would cling to that, and I'd be quite frugal, and I wouldn't share it, and I generally wouldn't try and spend it. And if I was with grandparents or parents, like I'd let them spend their money before I spent. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just had this attachment to whatever. Don't let it go. Like, and yet, and I didn't realize this. It's not something you think about, right? And then my son, he got given some birthday money a couple of years ago, and we were walking past a homeless guy. Corey, my son, he was like, "I want to give this homeless guy some of my money." And I'm thinking, right, he pulled out a £20 note and was like, "Here you go." And I'm just like, my inner child is like, what is he doing? Like, what? That's £20. And then I'm just looking at this kid thinking, oh man, like, what a giving heart, what a joyful giving heart. And I look at it, and almost I, as an adult, I'm learning from his abundant nature as a child to go, here, I want to bless you with this £20.
I love that. It makes me think about how children know so much. So often they're right. And so I'm not the type of parent who wants to teach too much, because I feel like if I teach too much, I might mess her up.
Right.
Because if I just sit back and relax, I see how she's got it. She's making the right decision pretty much all of the time. So I can just sit back and let her do her thing.
It's that intuition, isn't it? When we talk, because there's this heart intelligence and then there's mind intelligence. And so often as we grow as adults, we become more intellectual, reasoned beings, but yet get so conditioned out of our nature's intention, our nature's capacity to be intuitive. And I think that's exactly what you've just said, is that I don't want to take her or take him, take them out of that innate capacity, because so often as adults we then have to go to this phase where we have to unlearn stuff that no longer serves us.
Yeah, one of my mentors is the leader of a parent coaching certification, and she says that their goal is to help children grow into adulthood with their self-esteem intact, with their intuition intact, for childhood and adolescence to not break down their natural instincts, for them to be able to stay intact throughout childhood. And now that Grace, my daughter, is 2, and I look at the path ahead, it's like, ooh, here come all the opportunities to break down Grace's knowing. Yeah. And it's fascinating.
Yeah. And, you know, I was sat here thinking before we came on, there's so many kind of like phrases and, you know, money being the root of evil, you know, being the common one that gets banded around. I think one on your website that says good girls don't make money. You know, there's so many kind of like beliefs that are held within our society that I guess that we have to go through that unlearning. And I guess that was your moment when you were in the Cologne market, wasn't it? This realization that you had.
Yeah. So the story goes as follows. I went to university in Cologne studying fashion. And at that time, I was just so terrified about my finances. But I was really valuing good food. And so I wanted to buy this organic, huge bag of organic food and fruits and vegetables. And I remember standing outside of the grocery store, just smiling in the sunshine and feeling so happy and thinking, some people have this feeling of abundance as their everyday normal state. And from there, I realized that in nature, that is actually the norm. Abundance is. And I thought that it was so fascinating that I had strayed from that so dramatically. And that became my goal. I wanted to constantly live in this feeling of there's way more than enough. I've got plenty. I can just live and enjoy and be happy and relaxed. And that kind of became my mission. And over time, I realized that it wasn't just me who was struggling with these money beliefs, but it was most people that I knew. And what shocked me even more was that it wasn't just people who came from a background with not a lot of money. It was also people who grew up in wealthy families. It wasn't just a feminine problem. It's also a masculine problem, right? Like there's so much pressure on men to need to be the provider, to need to be the person who shows off with the big house, the big car, buys everything for their wife and kids. Like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, right? Like it's all these money beliefs that create so much pressure, so much disconnection. And I thought, wouldn't it be lovely if there were a way to live with money that feels really blissful and happy? And I hadn't found anything so far. When I went on the internet to search like money coaching programs and all and books and stuff, it was always about make more money, make more money, make more money. Yeah. But that's not the solution for most of us. Like, of course, making more money is one thing that can help a lot. You know, it helped me to learn how to make a lot more money. It's one thing that I work on with my clients all the time to teach them how to multiply their incomes, how to reach their money goals. Of course, that is one thing that is really helpful. But in that sense, we again make money like the center of our existence. We put money in like the God position, when really the outcome that I most love with my clients now is when they say, I don't even think about money.
Yeah.
Like it's funny that I'm enrolled in this like money program and I have a money coach, but I actually don't think about money because I'm so busy having fun. I know that I've got plenty. I know that there's more coming. I know that I'm making a great profit. I know my savings and investments are growing, but I think about more interesting things than money. And so yeah, I just felt like there was this gigantic gap in the market that would address the desires of those of us who understand that it takes money, but also want to be really happy with it.
Yeah. Which then makes abundance a state of being.
And that is something nobody can take away.
As opposed to literally what's in your bank account or what you have in the external world, the abundance is it must be about how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and how I'm being in any given moment.
Exactly. And this embodied state of abundance is what creates abundance all around you. Right. But we all know that life is constantly shifting and changing.
Yes.
The phase of life that I'm in right now, I won't be in forever. You know, my needs and my desires will change. Right now, I live in Germany with a toddler. You know, in the future, I may want to travel again. I may want to move to a different country again. I may want to start another business. I might want to, you know, have a big house, have a small house, you know, live on a yacht, like who knows? And so when you've got this state of when you are abundant and you know how to create money and you know how to be, how to make wise choices with money and you know how to reach your money goals, then you can go from phase to phase in your life and you can always find the resources to live congruently with what you need in a moment. That's the other lie about abundance that we're being sold, is that it's a destination. You know, once you've got this money, once you've got that, once you've got this, then you're set. But that's not how it works, because as humans, we're always evolving. And so the money that you need and the financial structures that you need, and even how you create money, it's always changing. And so, yes, abundance really is something that we can learn to be, and then it can never be taken away. Yeah. You know, like, you can burn my business down tomorrow, have another really lucrative business lined up the next day. Like, it's easy.
Do you know what can be taken away? My peace. And that is the thing is, so I used to work for the local police force, and 6 weeks before the pandemic, I left to run this company full time. I think if I had known that the pandemic was coming, I probably wouldn't have jumped, because I was a bit more of a safety security kind of guy. And that is the thing where if I ever have had money worries, it is because of the uncertainty of my future. In some way, the uncertainty and the lack of perceived security that I have has taken me away from being joyful in this moment. And it's replaced. And I guess it's like, you know, working around heart set mindset, it gets to the level of the nervous system, where that fear is putting you in a state of fight, flight, you know, unwellness, lack of being able to think clearly, definitely not being present around the children. So whether we like it or not, this our beliefs around money, they're going to impact our mood and how we're coming across in any given situation, I imagine.
Absolutely. And you actually just touched on a truth that most of us are not aware of. When we make big transitions, we often feel, oh crap, I'm facing the unknown. Yeah. Oh my God, you know, there's this like big dark void ahead of me. I don't know what's coming. And we're trying to grasp onto anything that we can to create a false sense of security. But the truth is, we are always in that position. We are always facing the unknown. The future is always a blank canvas. The future, we're constantly facing the unknown. And so one of the things I always teach my clients is we do these things called energy statements. Yeah. And one of them goes, what will it take for me to fearlessly face the unknown and love it? Because that is the truth of being a human being on planet Earth. That is the vulnerability all of us live with. We can create stories in our minds and, you know, hold on to our 10-pound notes. Like, we can do whatever we can, but at the end of the day, the human condition is to constantly be facing the unknown. And if we can face it fearlessly and love it, then life will be much easier. Yeah. But the other thing that I've learned is that the unknown never lets me down.
Yeah.
What I think I know lets me down all the time. Like, this is what a mentor of mine, Eva, taught me. She was like, but Hannah, the unknown holds everything that you want and so much more. Everything that you have in your life that is good right now was once a part of the unknown. Yeah. Everything that you know has somehow let you down, right? Like, all of those beliefs that we swear are true, or all of these plans that we swear will work out and then they don't. Like, what we know lets us down all the time. But I've realized that the unknown, the scary void, is actually really kind, and it actually really knows what it's doing. And when I realize that, I can walk into it with like a sense of joy and curiosity and enthusiasm, knowing that I may not see what's coming, but amazing things will be, you know, coming my way. Because when I look at my life, I can see that that's very much true.
Yeah. And that's faith, isn't it? That belief in the unseen, that belief in the void, that's faith. Not necessarily a religious faith, but just simply a belief in the unseen. And, you know, one of my mentors, Jesus, he says, blessed are those who believe without seeing. Not blessed are you because you have seen, you know, the money's in your bank account, but blessed are you because you believe in the, you know, the loving nature of the universe has got your back. And I love the work of Sadhguru, this Indian yogi. He says that I hope your dreams don't come true, for your dreams are limited by only what you can imagine. And that's what kind of came up for me when you said that what I know lets me down. Because it's in the void. It's in the one word that gives me great energy towards that void is possibility. That word possibility really inspires me, because I know that when I lean into possibility, it leaves space for things that I probably couldn't have made happen myself.
I love that. Yeah, my mantra is life knows what it's doing.
Right. Yeah.
Life knows what it's doing. And like I always have a plan. I always have a plan. I always have an idea of how things should be. It very often doesn't turn out my way, but then I just say life knows what it's doing, and in the end, life is always right.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you, because there's a good balance between heart and mind in your approach, which is the inner work of the abundant state mirrored with the mindset of strategy and a plan. And I think, I think that's what it means to have balance, is the inner and the outer. Too many people can either go one and be very intro and not actually come to the world and be a good steward with what they have. And then some other people can be all in pursuing the thing without knowing why, or maybe there's an attachment to it and there's a lack mentality. So I think having that wonderful balance of heart connection to who I am being, and then coming to the world doing with a strategic perspective, a good plan. And I guess that's all part of your 5-step approach, right?
Yeah, exactly. It takes both. I love that money pulls us more deeply into life. Mm-hmm. I love that for those of us, like I'm a Pisces, I dream. Like that's just kind of what I'm built to do. Like you can just sit me down, just have me look out a window and I can dream and make up stories, and I have like an amazing imagination. Like reality as it is not my strong suit. Yeah. Like the dream world is where I'm at home.
And it's for that reason that I don't do the lottery, because I'm with you. If I buy the lottery ticket, I've already dreamed about everything that I'm going to use the money for. And then the disappointment and the come down when I haven't, like, it's too much to bear.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I cut you off. You were saying.
That's absolutely okay. The thing that I'm noticing with money, just for myself, is that money pulls me more deeply into life. Like money forces me, so in such a relentlessly kind way, like it will just keep poking me, keep nudging me to focus on the exact things that I need to heal and the exact skills that I need to learn. And I can't dream my way out of money. Like it's such a perfect, excellent teacher. It forces me to learn how to market and to do it consistently. It forces me to look at my numbers and to do the math. It forces me to set goals that are realistic, but stretch goals that matter to me, goals that actually make my life better, and to take the daily actions to implement them. It forces me to be a more mature human being, forces me to be more responsible. It forces me to show up for my clients every single day, no matter what. Whether I like it or not, doesn't matter. I have to show up and do my work every single day. And for the longest time, I felt quite resentful about that. I was like, why is money so uncomfortable? Or I thought, well, maybe I'm just not cut out for all of this. And so now I'm realizing that money really is one of my guardian angels. Money is one of the things that pulls me more deeply into life, that grows me up, and that teaches me everything that is available to me. And one of the most amazing teachings that I've learned is that physical reality is actually a lot of fun. Like to not need to escape all the time and to let myself be in life.
Yeah.
Life is so much richer and more wonderful than even my imagination. And that is so cool.
Yeah. More involved in life. I love that. And one of the things I really have to check and test my own, I really have to look at my own thought patterns when it comes to this, is this balance between abundance, allowing it all to come and flow and having more, versus abundance, knowing that I have enough. And those two perspectives are quite different. And there's some scripture that says, seek first the kingdom of God and all things will be added. And because there are a variety of different translations, one translation talks about how that is abundance, like seek first the kingdom of God and you will be provided for abundantly. And then there's another translation that says seek first the kingdom of God and you'll be given all that you need. And that's a very different perspective, isn't it? It's learning how to go, do you know what? In this moment, I have all that I need. I am abundant in that state because there's nothing in this situation that I've not been provided for. And I have to really kind of check and test my own thought process, because I am in a state of being where like I've focused on less, or like desire less. I've got to a point where it's like learning to love and appreciate all that I have and realizing that actually how rich I already am.
I absolutely love that. I'm actually a minimalist when it comes to my belongings. That's one of the things that I've learned growing up. To me, it felt like when you're abundant, when you're really wealthy, what comes with that is a lot of stuff, right? And then you can buy all the things. And then as my money situation improved, I realized I don't like a lot of stuff. I don't like buying a lot of stuff. I don't actually own many clothes. When people come to my home, they're like, oh my God, it's so spacious.
Yeah.
It's like translation to, you don't have a lot of stuff. I love it, because I don't have to manage many things. And even now, before buying something, I really think about whether or not I want it in my home.
Yeah.
And to me, feeling content is absolutely an expression of abundance.
Yeah.
And all of us who are having this conversation around money on your podcast, I'm just going to assume that for most of us, having a place to sleep tomorrow is not a concern. For most of us, finding something to eat for our next meal is not a concern. Like, we talk about money because it brings us more choice, because it brings us personal growth, because it brings us more opportunities to do good, by buying the groceries and supporting farmers that take care of the soil, for example. But for us, money is not about survival. Even those of us who feel like we're inadequate because we don't have as much as other people, this is a very privileged conversation that we're having. And in my program, Money Bliss, we always talk about how contentment is a fertilizer. Like, contentment and abundance go hand in hand. It is not abundance if you don't feel content, but continuously create more money. You can very much feel content and create more money or create really cool financial outcomes for fun. But if you don't have contentment, then that is not abundance. That is one of the cornerstones.
Yeah. And I guess it's characterized, isn't it? You can have all of the things and yet still lack that content. You can lack that peace because maybe in some way you're using those things of this world to fill the inner void, the inner gap. And again, all the Eastern philosophy talks about, suffering. It comes from our attachments to these things.
Right. Yeah. Like more stuff, more money, more cars, more da 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 da. And it never really fills in what we most desire. But that's the condition of the societies that we live in. It's the more, 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 more. And the energetic translation of that is not enough, right? The more, more, more means not enough. It is an expression of scarcity.
It's such a paradox, isn't it? So funny.
Yeah.
I laughed at something it said on your website. I imagined like the Facebook bio where it says relationship status in brackets with money, and it's complicated. If someone is resonating with that, they've got a complicated relationship with money, where might they start?
Yeah. A very first step is to tune into the feeling of truth in your own body. And that feeling of truth will tell you that you are longing for some emotional quality. And to identify that first. What is it that you're really, really needing? Do you need a sense of predictability, consistency, security? Do you need more freedom, creative expression, lightness? Do you need to feel more connected, more like you belong, more like you matter? And then you'll very quickly notice, I've been trying to meet those needs through money, and it probably hasn't been working very well. And so find a way to fill in these emotional needs for yourself. It's the thing that we often do with money and our work is, it's like, do you know how when some people are in a relationship, they kind of make their spouse their everything? Like the spouse needs to be the source of entertainment and like be my best friend and be my everything. And it's so much pressure on the other person. We do that with money and work as well, especially as entrepreneurs, where our business needs to be the thing that makes us look good. It needs to be the thing that is like always fun, that completely makes us feel safe. It's like we put so much on our work, but when we take responsibility for meeting our own emotional needs, our business gets to just be a place where we go to give and receive money in return. But our business gets to be our dharma, where we contribute something positive to the betterment of the planet. And so for those of you who are just now, wanting to explore healing your relationship with money, start with your emotional needs, fill those in. Because once those are filled in, you'll be able to make much more sound, realistic choices about money and work. And that emotional charge that we tend to feel around money, it's going to dissipate a little bit, and you're going to be a little more clear-minded.
You could probably see that I'm starting to laugh because the penny is dropping, and the irony is that to make more money, it's not about the money.
I know. It's such a paradox. The same paradox as, that the outcome is to not think about money.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Come join my money course where we're not to think about money. That's like the ultimate kind of like Eastern meditation monk stuff.
I know. A client of mine, she runs a jewelry business in Australia. And she set a money goal, and she says, "Oh, I haven't reached my money goal yet." And I'm like, "Do you think about the money goal?" And she was like, "Yes." And I was like, "You know what to do. It's time to stop thinking about the money goal," right? Because when we're in business, what increases the revenue is to market to serve a lot of people, but don't think about the money, right? Just like keep enrolling people into your business, and the money piece will take care of itself. But it's almost like that's the paradox. As soon as we focus on the money, it doesn't work. And that goes back to what I touched on earlier, that if you're in the energy of more, I want to get more money, that translates into not enough. And so that actually blocks you from creating more.
It's really interesting because I've been journeying through the work of David Hawkins over the last year or so, where, power versus force, letting go. And what he says is that desire is a lower vibrational state than love, peace, acceptance, joy, bliss, So this paradox that actually desire, even the word itself, means I do not have. So if we're constantly focusing on that which we desire, we are reinforcing to ourselves, we don't have it yet. Which is the exact barrier energetically to having, because that energetic vibration is about, well, it already is present. It's not out there separate from me in space and time and future. And that for me is trying to get my head around that, or my heart around that is one of, like if I can cut, and this is where I'm coming to the world having all that I need, and I will gratefully receive all that is meant for me, is becoming a big part of my kind of mantra.
Absolutely. And it's a lot more effective than the desire, because that's most of our approaches, right? It's I want more, I'm going to set more goals, I'm going to go create more money and create more this, create more success. And then it doesn't really actually show up. And it can often feel really scary to try on satisfaction, contentment, peace instead, because then we think, oh my God, what if that doesn't actually help me meet my needs?
And I will caveat what I've just said, that let's not make an enemy of desire, because for anyone that has, been depressed or felt shame, or, that they don't have anything of worth and value, like, desire is progress. Desire is high energy. It moves. It gets you showing up, doing the things. It's just not a destination to stay in.
Yeah, I love David Hawkins's work. The scale of consciousness is what you're talking about. So anybody listening, if you're like, what is this about? Just Google scale of consciousness, David Hawkins.
Yeah. And that's just transforms the way that I've thought, the way that I've looked at, the way that I coach and heart set, and makes me a bit of an outlier with coaching, because it's like I'm almost coming away from like being the type of coach that helps you get what you want and what you desire, versus the coach that kind of brings you back to wholeness within.
Yeah. The thing that I've discovered is that the energy that I'm living, like the energy that I'm feeling inside of my body, is what ripples out into my external reality and shows up as my life circumstances.
Yeah.
So I like to remind myself, like, what do I want in the future and how can I live that energetic quality now? So for example, if I feel abundance now in my body, my life circumstances will be abundant in the future. If I feel peaceful now, my life circumstances will be peaceful. And that to me was one of the biggest breakthroughs, that it only works this way, and it has to work, and I have to do it before my external life looks the way I want it to look. I have to fill in with the energetic qualities now, because those are the ones that radiate out and create my reality.
Yeah.
And when that really sunk in, I almost felt invincible, because I could look around myself at my life and be like, here's a problem, there's a problem, here's a problem. But it was almost like I was separate from it. And I said, okay, that's cool. This is like the reality that was created from my past energetic frequencies.
Yeah.
The ones that I'm wearing today, right now, are the ones that will be my future. And I stopped being so freaked out by reality as I saw it.
And it's in recognizing that it gives us this, well, now I'm responsible. Is now I have an awareness over all of this and how it's playing out, and how this is a manifestation for who I once was, or who I am currently being in this moment. Then I take responsibility for everything, because we're creators at our essence. The abracadabra, I create as I speak, is this idea that whatever that inner vibrational state is, people think manifestation is out there. I will manifest my dream life in the future. I don't have it yet, and I'm. But if you act like an unpleasant human being, someone's going to punch you on the nose, and you've manifested from who you are being in that moment, not because it was out there and that thing was always destined to be. No, you're manifesting through your being.
Yeah, and I love that there is no delay.
Yeah.
As soon as I feel calm,
yes,
everything shifts instantly. As soon as I feel joyful and grateful, everything shifts instantly. Yeah. So it's not, in like 5 years, I'll be living my dream life. Until then, I'll feel the agony of not being there yet. It pulls me deeply into the present moment, and everything shifts like right then and there. It's really cool.
Yeah, I love that. What about the opposite? This is a different kind of conversation. What about the shame attached to maybe having too much is the wrong word, but let's just say it's not a lack of finances, it's a lot of finances. And if someone's experiencing shame for having a lot, what might that be an invitation for them to consider?
Absolutely. I've had a handful of clients from the southern states in the United States whose family made a lot of money as a result of slavery.
Right.
And many of those clients had very big problems getting their businesses to be profitable. There was a deep feeling of shame of like, who am I to make more money? And that when I make money, it really deeply hurts other people. And so that this kind of takes me back to all the way at the beginning of our conversation, where we talked about how our family story matters and how we're not just individuals. Our ancestry matters so much, and the choices that they made influence us today. And so in those instances, what we needed to invite the client to do was to feel the gravity and the depth, and just like the heaviness of everything that unfolded in the past, and to, in some ways, make amends as best as that was possible. So usually when clients have a lot of money and there is a really deep feeling of guilt and shame, it is usually right on the money, pun intended. Usually something very sketchy, funky had been done in order to create this money. And the gravity of that really needs to be felt. It obviously makes sense that my client wasn't the one who was the perpetrator. It was an ancestor. But if the shame hadn't been felt until that point, it just gets passed down and down and down and down and down. And then sometimes, there's like a young entrepreneur living in 2023 who just can't seem to get their businesses off the ground. And mentally, they understand that they shouldn't be feeling ashamed. But, that shame wasn't there as it was kind of passed down to them. And I think that's kind of so beautiful that if a resolution hadn't been found yet, that desire for resolution just kind of keeps being passed down, and it can be resolved in hindsight, and it has to be resolved. The thing that I very much believe is that our emotions are always correct. I'm not the type of coach who says, oh, you shouldn't be feeling fearful.
Yeah.
If a client feels scared, they should absolutely be feeling scared. And let's look into that. If the client is feeling sad, they should absolutely be feeling sad. Let's look into that and actually let the emotion come up and let it do its healing work and its correcting work and its strengthening work.
Yeah, I love that perspective. I agree. I want to be the best dad I can be, and therefore I follow a couple of Instagram accounts around fatherhood. And one of the on the carousels, it's like top tips for dads. Some of your responsibilities. And on the last slide, I think it said about building generational wealth. What might a top tip be for any men out there that are looking to build or women want to build generational wealth into their family?
Yeah, become somebody who's great at money and model that. Don't try to talk about it or teach it, but be the person your children can look up to, and who they can learn from. Model excellent money management skills. Learn everything that you don't know and just be that person. And if you wanted to talk about something, maybe talk about your mistakes, maybe talk about your questions, talk about your learnings, just open up a conversation. One of the things that also keep us stuck is when we say, right, because when we talk about, what did you learn growing up from your parents around money, we often hear absolutes like, money doesn't grow on trees. It takes money to make money, have to go to work. And so those are the mindsets that our parents have, and they just pass them on to us. But instead of just trying to teach your children what you know, how about you just open up a conversation and let them chime in? How about you just say, here's what I'm thinking about right now. This is what I'm pondering. This is the question. This is the learning that I'm currently going through. What do you think? So maybe opening up a conversation that allows your children to chime in with their wisdom while you are learning as a human being to become a great steward of money. I know the term generational wealth means something else. I know it's supposed to mean, creating wealth now that you can pass on to your children, or creating a family business that is highly profitable, that your family members can work in, and that's going to outlast you. But yeah, I feel like in the spirit of the truth that abundance is, become someone who's abundant.
Well, I think what you've just spoken to is the analogy that if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a life. And I think that kind of speaks to, you can build the finances now to pass on, but effectively you might pass them on to a child who hasn't built that understanding to be a good steward of that wealth. But actually what I think I've just heard from you is that you're building that wealth into the way that they think, feel, and act, and become someone capable of being able to become abundant in their own nature.
Exactly. And so when you model being a great steward of money to the best of your ability, it will be your children's job to build on that. the younger generation always, it's our job, right? Like we're supposed to do life a little better and a little differently than our parents did. And our parents were supposed to do life a little better and a little differently than their parents did. So you don't have to get everything right, but just learn and grow to the best of your ability and know that that will be the foundation from which your children will learn and grow to their next level and then theirs. We just want to begin to create this positive upward spiral with money.
Yeah. Love that. I have a word here, always better than yesterday. It's called heartprint. And the word heartprint kind of symbolizes the ripple effect of our work and the impact that we have, the possibilities that we create for other people. Let's just say you're 90, like your grandpa, and you're reflecting back on your life, you're reflecting back on your career. What do you hope your heartprint will be?
I hope my heartprint will be that the people I've touched, that they understand that they were right and they knew all along. That through my conversations with them, they realize that their fears and their thinking and their longings, that there was value in those and that they knew. Sometimes my clients come to me and they'll say, oh, like this is probably crazy, or this is just a block, or this is just but usually there's a lot of truth, a lot of wisdom, a lot of common sense in how they're feeling. And so I feel like most of the time we already know.
I love that. Where can people connect with you? Where can they find your great work and join whatever programs that you have available to? Let's talk about that. What do you have available and who should sign up?
I'm known for a 6-month program called Money Bliss. Mm-hmm. That is the thing that I'm known for. In 6 months, we teach you everything you need to know about money, how to be amazing at it, how to make a lot, how to have a lot, how to grow your savings, how to make very wise financial decisions, how to be amazing at money for the rest of your life. My clients come from all sorts of countries, all sorts of walks of life, all sorts of ages. There are some timeless money best practices that have been used for hundreds, thousands of years that can work for anyone and everyone. And so we teach those in Money Bliss. And then we also do a lot of really deep emotional healing to help you just untangle your complicated relationship about money and just feel really blissfully happy with money, feel a sense of contentment and peace, knowing that you're doing money your way, you're reaching your own money goals, you're living a really good, integrous life. I also work one-on-one with people. That usually happens after Money Bliss. Mm-hmm. Money Bliss is the foundation. And then if somebody wants to keep working with me, they're welcome to work with me one-on-one.
Yeah, love that. I'll add all the good links in the show notes. And I'd be honored if you'd leave us a final thought from your good self.
A final thought. Yeah, that your body already knows, like there's a feeling of truth in your own body. And just trust it, run with it. Like it's not, I know it can be really annoying. I remember, my intuition is often so strong. It keeps like poking me and nudging me. And I'm like, just leave me alone. But just trust it, just move with it. Just take the very next step that's already right under your nose. Let yourself be guided.
Love that. Hanna, I know you've been feeling a little bit under the weather today. Thank you for still showing up. Thank you for serving our audience. And please know we appreciate you very much.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you for making it to the end of the interview here on YouTube. I hope that our time spent together has left you a little bit better than before you push play. Before you go anywhere, please leave a comment down below, some of your key reflections, your key takeaways. I love hearing from you and what this conversation has inspired in you. Let me know what you're going to do as a result of this conversation. I will be back next Wednesday where I will share another inspiring guest. To make sure that you don't miss that, please do subscribe, hit the bell, and you will be notified as soon as it goes live. If you're curious to know how I, through Always Better Than Yesterday, can serve you, your team, your organization, please do visit alwaysbetterthanyesterday.com, and it will be my honor and privilege to help you in any way I can. Keep leading, my friends. I've been Ryan Hartley, host of the Always Better Than Yesterday podcast here on YouTube. Always love.